I'm Kerry Rowett, and this is the Align and Attract podcast, helping you to create your version of an aligned business. Let's dive into today's episode. What can you do when you are doing all the right things and it's just not working? This is not a fun place to be, but so many of my clients over the years have described this exact feeling. So if you feel that way now, or you have felt like that, maybe in the past, it is totally surmountable. You can move through this. And today I'm going to help you to take some steps, even if you don't 100% feel like this right now. Going through these steps that I'm going to guide you through is still going to help you to create more clarity and get clearer on what is actually right for you, help you to reconnect yourself, help you to reconnect to your clients, help you to reconnect to your business. So I'm going to guide you through 3 steps. I'll tell you what they are, and then we're going to go through them in a little bit more detail. Number 1, you're going to want to reestablish your connection with yourself. Number 2, will reestablish your connection with your ideal clients. And number 3, we'll reestablish your connection with what it is you are actually selling in your business. How can people buy from you? How can they actually work with you? And make sure that is really clear and useful to your ideal clients, and they really get what it is that you are offering them. So, number 1, when you're doing all the right things and it is not working, oftentimes you're going to find that you have been stuck in a pattern of busy work and also looking outside of yourself. So maybe you're looking at what other people online are doing. This might be things that you're seeing come up in your Instagram feed or somewhere else on social media, or you're paying a lot of attention to what people in Facebook groups that you are in are doing. Perhaps you are signing up to different webinars and learning from different people, and you're trying to do what they suggest. You're joining a bunch of different online courses, or you're working with different mentors, and you're trying to do the right things, but your focus is really outwards on other people, feeling like other people have the answers. Other people know better than you. There is some kind of magic secret. There is some kind of magic bullet, and that other people know what it is. And I get it. We can feel like, well, if I knew what it was, if I was doing the right things, I would be getting the outcome that they are getting. So, of course, I need to learn from them. It is totally okay, of course, to learn from other people. It is the place that we are coming from that is most important. So that's why number 1 is reestablish connection with yourself. You need to get back centered. You need to get grounded. And from that place, you can make better decisions and you can see with more clarity what is actually going on. And you can give yourself a bit more space, because when we feel like things aren't working, we can end up adding more and more and more and more. And then there's no spaciousness. We've got this tunnel vision. And maybe we're just so hyper focused on what it is that we're trying to do. We're trying to do more and more and more and more. And it's very difficult then to discern what is working, what isn't working, why isn't it working? So how are we going to reestablish this connection with ourselves? Now, I bet you've already got some ways of connecting with yourself that work. And I bet if you are in this place right now where you're doing all the right things and it's not working, I bet you're not doing the practices that actually work for you. So my first recommendation is to ask yourself, what does work for me? Am I doing it? And if not, when can I start? And probably now is a great time. In fact, just going through this process now, what we're doing right here in this podcast is going to help you, because you're starting that process of saying, hey, what is actually going on within me? What do I really want? How am I actually feeling? How am I going to move forwards from here? So, the practices that I recommend are journaling. First of all, very powerful practice of actually writing out your thoughts, writing out your feelings, defining what it is that you want, and I recommend asking questions, and you can use my book to help you with that. So my book is Align and Attract. You can find it at alignattract.com/book. That just links you to the various places on the internet where you can find it. It comes with a downloadable journal, and in that journal, it asks you questions to help you clarify what is my aligned business. So if you do not have the book, just go and buy it. Books are so cheap. And that's going to get you started on that journey of really reconnecting to yourself. If you don't meditate or you haven't been meditating, that is the next practice I'm going to recommend to you. I like Insight Timer. There are so many different apps that you can use. Find a practice that feels good for you. It can be very short, but giving yourself that space to connect in, to breathe, to focus or still your mind, it's going to help. Yoga is another practice that I find is really useful. I just love that process of blending movement and breath. It helps me personally to still my mind. You might take a walk. Moving meditation is really great as well. Just go for a walk without your phone and just allow yourself to think and to connect to yourself. Another process that you could use to reconnect to yourself is doing a goal alignment with me using my alignment process. I have got a free video. You can sign up for that at alignattract.com/goal if you'd like to go through the process with me of clarifying a goal. You might create a goal like, I feel calm and clear, or I know what's right for me. I know how to move forwards. Then go through that goal alignment process, and it will help you to create more clarity. Finally, if you're really not feeling connected to yourself, I'm going to recommend getting a kinesiology session. That is what works for me. It's why I have that offer on my site. It's a breakthrough to alignment session. It's longer than, a normal kind of kinesiology session. And we do like an intake form in advance. I do some Reiki for you in advance, and we can work on some of those bigger core issues. And in just that one session, we can make a huge amount of change for you. The reason why I love that is it can really shorten that curve of time where you're feeling stuck, and it can help you to reconnect to yourself so that then you can move forwards in a way that's right for you, because we don't want to stay stuck in this place of confusion and feeling like there's so much going on and we don't know what's right for us. We do not want to stay there. We want to really reconnect to ourselves as quickly as we can and then stay connected. So, number 2, as you've started to reestablish that connection to yourself, and that's so important, the next thing I want you to do is to reestablish your connection with your ideal client. So, when we're getting really stuck and feeling like nothing's working, sometimes we can get a little bit too focused on ourselves and what it is that we are doing, and we've forgotten who we're actually doing it for and who we're actually connecting with and who is going to benefit from these actions. We can start to feel like we're just talking out there. You're talking to, maybe it feels like you're talking to nobody, or you're talking into air, rather than having that real sense that I'm talking to my ideal client. There are so many people who teach niching, who teach stuff around ideal clients. I have a workshop myself, which you can find at alignattract.com/ideal clients if you would like to go through that process of aligning with your ideal client. But in short, for our purposes today, you want to be knowing, who are they? Who is your ideal client? Just remind yourself. Of course, it's not just everyone, you know that, but who is your ideal client, the person that you just absolutely love to work with and is getting great results from working with you? So you can think of someone you're already working with. What does that person want and need? Make sure that when you're creating content, you're thinking about that. When you're connecting, when you're selling, that you are thinking about what that person really wants and needs and how you can specifically help them. So, reestablish that connection with your ideal client. Get rid of the focus just on yourself, get rid of the focus just on doing all the things, and start thinking about this real person who you will be connecting with, this real person who needs and wants what it is that you're offering. So think about them. Number 3, I want you to think about like reestablishing your connection with what it is that you actually sell in your business, what it is that you actually do, what it is that people can buy from you. Because sometimes we think it's really, really obvious, and it just might not be that obvious. So have a look at your actual offerings and think, would somebody who's coming to my website for the very first time, or who's coming across this offer for the very first time, would they really easily understand this? Is it really, really clear? Sometimes it feels really clear to us, but it's actually a little bit confusing. Like someone could look at that offer and they're like, oh, that sounds good. I don't really know if I need that, or I don't really know what that is even, or what I'm going to get out of that, or what the benefits would be for me actually investing money in that. So make sure it is super, super clear. So make it clear by the way that you actually name it and the way that you describe it. Rather than being clever, try and be really clear, especially when we're at that time when we feel like I'm doing the right things and it's just not working. If you go back to your offerings, that can just be such a really simple thing to change. And we think, oh, it's the way that I'm communicating, or it's the way I'm connecting. And it's like, actually, people don't understand what it is that I'm selling. They might like you, they might like what you're sharing about, but then they don't actually know what you sell, or they don't know exactly how it will benefit them. So make sure it makes sense. Make sure that the value is communicated so that someone would understand, like, what am I actually getting and how is this going to benefit me? How is this going to help me to create clarity or move forward or get that copy written or whatever it is that you do. Like, make sure that you're very clear about communicating the value of what it is, and make sure it's really easy to buy from you. I know in the past, I have wanted to buy something from somebody, and then it's like, oh, you need to DM me, and then I'm going to send you my account details or whatever it is. And it's like, gosh, that's okay. And some of us will persist through that process. But it's really great if you can make it super easy just to book in and to pay money on your website if you don't already do that. So those are 3 things that I recommend that you do if you feel like you're doing all the right things and it's just not working. Let's whiz through them again. Number 1, reestablish connection with yourself. Number 2, reestablish connection with your ideal client. And number 3, reestablish connection with what it is that you are actually selling in your business. I hope that is so helpful for you. I would love to hear what that sparked for you, any clarity that you got. I know there was a lot in there. There was quite a few resources, but you can always go back and listen to this episode again. And yeah, I cannot wait to hear how you go, and I cannot wait to see you next time. This was episode 25 of the podcast. Can you believe it? You can find all of the relevant show notes over at alignandattract.com/blog/25. If you are enjoying the podcast, whether this is your first episode or it's your 25th and you haven't written a review, I would love it so much if you would do that, please, over at Apple Podcasts. It really does help. And if you could please share the podcast with any friends or colleagues who you think would find it interesting, useful, even sometimes a little bit inspiring, that would be so amazing. If you've got any feedback or any suggestions or guests that you would just love me to interview on the podcast or topic ideas, I would love to hear from you. Jump across to Instagram at Kerry Rowett and send me a DM and let me know. And thanks so much for being here. Here's to the next 25 episodes.